Hey there, everybody. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another edition of Dream Setlist, the show we're doing each and every day in the month of March, and we're winding down. And of course, you knew we'd get to it eventually. Today is Black Sabbath Day, and who better to have on this show as my co-captain but Mr. Chris Sallow. What's happening, my friend? How are you today?
What's going on, Pete? Thanks for having me. A huge honor to be on here with you, like always, and to do a dream set list for my all time favorite band. And this is a real tough one, a real tough one.
Yeah, so Chris and I were chatting before we went live here about, I think we both took drastic avenues to kind of get here with this dream set list choice, and that's totally okay because I think I prefer it that way. And we have the option doing these dream set lists, as does everybody watching, to pick a purely fictional set list, to do something that's kind of grounded in reality based on real dates that happen, real concerts that happen. We can go in the past, we can go in the future, use our time machine, not any lineup, any tour, any year, any venue. Sky's the limit. So this is supposed to be a lot of fun. And, hopefully that we've, throughout this month, I know I put together set lists that I've never really seen before. In some cases by lineups I've never seen before, by bands I've never seen before. So it's meant to be fun. It's hopefully we use our kind of creativity a little bit. So I know Chris has done that. So I'm going to have him kick us off with his first.
Yes, I was just starting to say, Pete, for me, being a Sabbath fan, this was the real Kobayashi Maru, which Star Trek fans will understand what I'm saying. It was the no-win scenario. I was like, fuck, because I really wanted to do something that encaptures the entire history, because I love all the lineups of Sabbath. I love all the records, really, except for Never Said Die and Forbidden. But that's what I wanted to do. But I'm like, Pete, how do you do a Sabbath show that covers the entire history of the band? Like, who would even sing? It was too much. So then, because we're going to do the Heaven and Hell of Mob Rules things, and I've listened to so much of the Ronnie stuff in the last, like 2 weeks. I really wanted to do that era of the set list. But then I was like, listen, this is Black Sabbath. It really should be, for my pick, the Ozzy era, because it is original. And then I was like, oh, fuck it. I'm just going to do two. I'm going to do one Ozzy and one Dio. They're the most important lineups in Sabbath's history. So that's what I did. So yeah, a little bit of a cheat, but fuck it. If I got, like Avengers Endgame, if I got two jewels, two of them little things, I'm going back in time twice. Once to 1975. And this first dream set is totally based on reality. Sabbath played the Asbury Park Convention Center on August 5th, 1975, and it was recorded. You can listen to the whole thing on YouTube, and parts of the set were used on the Past Lives double CD that came out a few years ago. And man, Sabbath were on fire that night. They played one of the longest sets that the Ozzy era of the band ever did. I think it's like 100 minutes. They did like 17 songs. And it really, if I had to pick a set as is, like that's for the Ozzy lineup, that's the one I'd want to go to. But, since it's the dream set list, I did most of the set, but I tweaked it a little bit. I dropped a couple songs in favors of a couple other ones. And of course, anytime they were jamming or anything like that, yeah, that's right out the window.
All the gems are gone. Sorry.
That's gone. That's gone. All the solos. I did leave one solo, but yeah, it's and the other thing was, it's on the Sabotage tour, which I really like that record. So this was like 7 or 8 days after Sabotage came out. In reality, they opened up with Killing Yourself to Live. I'm going to do what they did on the Never Say Die tour. They had the Super Tsar intro, and then they open up with Symptom of the Universe. Then I'm going to do Killing Yourself to Live, which they did do that night. Hole in the Sky, which they did do that night. They did not do NIB, and that's one of my favorite Sabbath songs. So I'm putting it in. They had dropped it in 75. They did Snowblind for real that night. So I'm putting it in there. War Pigs was next, which again, was early in the set for real in 1975. Then I'm gonna go. I just kept thinking of that Manowar lyric, something like, I forget what song it is, but it's like, posers leave the hall. So I'm like, okay, we had some of the hits in the beginning with Symptom of the Universe and NIB, Snowblind, War Pigs, but all right, now we're going to have, some of the more obscure stuff for the hardcore fans. And, if you're not a real big Sabbath fan, go hit the bar. So I was going to do Wheels of Confusion, which is a track I love from Volume 4, A National Acrobat, such a great tune, never gets played. I think is that on that Live at Last? I can't even remember. I don't think so. Cornucopia is on there, but yeah, I don't think so. I think that's the cough medicine talking. Lord of This World would be next from Master of Reality. And I know they did this on the 1998 European tour. So I just looked it up on setlist.com to see if it's, they don't have everything, but according to their records, this was only played 15 times in ever in the 50-something year history of Sabbath that they have recorded. I mean, they don't have every single set list, but yeah, it was played a few times in 98 and only a handful of times in the 70s. I mean, it's such a great heavy tune. I'm like, why they did everything off of Master of Reality in the 90s and the 2000s. Why the hell did they do that one? But anyway, at least not in America. Like I said, they did it a bunch of times in Europe. Maybe Ozzy got tired of it. The closing track off of Volume 4, which is so fucking crushingly heavy, Under the Sun. Man, what a great tune. And that's another one Sabbath played sporadically in like within the 2000s in Europe, but I think they did it too in that one gig they did in Chicago in like 2012, but I don't think I ever saw them do it. I'm gonna have them do Rat Salad because I love that track. It's like one of my favorite Sabbath instrumentals. I think it's so weird that Sabbath actually, when they actually did do it a couple of years ago, was with Tommy Clufetos, but don't matter. Bill Ward's in here in 1975, so they're going to do Rat Salad into the Bill Ward drum solo, straight, no talking in between, right into Iron Man. Again, that'll appease the hardcore fans who just want to hear the hits. Then we'll do Supernaut, fast, happy track, and then one of the all-time greats, a track that Sabbath did in I guess it was 97 when they recorded the Reunion Live record, Spiral Architect. Just love that song. Which they did do that night. They did Iron Man that night. They did Supernaut that night. After Spiral Architect, Black Sabbath, again, which of course they did that night. Right. And these are all legit that they did that night. Black Sabbath, Spiral Architect, closed the show with Children of the Grave. And then the encore, they did not do the title track from Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. The Ozzy version of the band, unless I'm mistaken, which I don't think I am, ever played Sabbath Bloody Sabbath live, but they're going to do it on August 5th, 1975. And then the final encore is Paranoid. So most of the hits, but some good obscure ones that they wouldn't normally do. So if I could do a time trip thing, that would be a great one for sure.
I'd take that trip with you.
That would be, well, yeah. Listen, if it's a 2-seater, you're right next to me.
I'll tell you what, I'll bring the beer. All right. How's that?
That's good. Because listen, wherever we get the beer at a concert in 1975, it's going to be warm.
Yes.
It's going to be cheap, but it's going to be warm.
And there's going to be no craft beer. So,
especially in August.
Schlitz, Schaefer. I don't know. That's probably what we're going to get at that point.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Maybe a Black Label.
Yeah, that could be.
Hams,
Schaefer.
Yeah.
No Bud. I don't drink Budweiser. So, yeah.
But yeah, so that was, I could have taken out War Pigs and Paranoid and whatever and put in, Megalomania and whatever else. But I'm like, well, I still want it to feel like a Sabbath show.
Yeah.
Which is what I was thinking about when we did the Iron Maiden set list thing, when I picked all obscurities. But I'm like, well, is it really going to feel like a Maiden show if they don't do Number of the Beast? Maybe. I mean, because hell, I've seen Maiden without them actually do a Number of the Beast. But
yeah, exactly. Yep. That's pretty cool. All right, you want me to toss mine out, and then we'll have you get back to your second one?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so I went completely off the rails for this. So,
That's good.
like I said, I wanted to take a completely different approach. I'm going to the future. This is going to be, and again, hopefully everything is copacetic by then. 20,022. COVID has died down. We're doing live shows again. It's going to be at Madison Square Garden, probably a summer show. This is going to be called the Can't We All Just Get Along tour.
Okay.
All right. So this is I'm getting everybody on board. Maybe not
All right.
a good chunk of people on board. So this is a long show. This is a 3-hour Sabbath show. Tony and Geezer are going to be putting in overtime in this show, right? So instead of giving the whole lineup, I'm going to kind of do it as I go along. So the first part of the set is going to be a kind of a lengthy part of the set, right? So you're going to lights are going to go out at the Garden, 8 o'clock on the dot. You're going to hear the little church bell and the rain and the wind. Ozzy, Bill, Tony, and Geezer are going to come out to Black Sabbath.
Nice.
The original lineup. They're going to play Black Sabbath, NIB, Children of the Grave. They're going to launch into Hole in the Sky. And in my dream scenario, Ozzy can still sing some of these songs.
That's good.
Yeah, right. Snowblind, Into the Void, Little Supernaut, Little Under the Sun, Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. Gotta have it.
I was gonna say we got a lot of similar songs so far.
Right. A National Acrobat, Hand of Doom.
Nice.
After Forever. And then we're going to close down this part of the set with Symptom of the Universe.
Awesome.
Okay, so the guys are going to go back, a couple minute break, right? And then a few minutes later, Tony and Geezer are going to walk back out. Behind the drum kit, Mr. Vinny Appice is going to come out. And then Jorn Landy is going to come out to the vocal slot. Now it's going to be a tribute to Ronnie James Dio. They're going to launch into Neon Nights, Mob Rules, Sign of the Southern Cross, Children of the Sea, Die Young, and Falling Off the Edge of the World. Jorn Landy and Vinny are going to leave the stage. Out comes Ian Gillan and Bev Bevan.
Nice.
They're going to launch into From the Born Again album. They're going to launch into Trashed. And again, this in my dream set list, Ian is going to be able to sing these songs, right? Because we know
absolutely.
Ian and Ozzy are not quite where they were, right? But they're going to launch into Trashed. They're going to play Zero the Hero. They're going to play Hotline, Born Again, and finish it off with Disturbing the Priest.
I like it.
Intermission. No, actually, no, sorry. I'm a little early on that. Not intermission yet. Ian's going to go off the stage. Glenn Hughes is going to come out. Bev's going to stay on drums. We're going to plop into from 7 Star. We're going to go In for the Kill, 7 Star, and Danger Zone.
Nice.
Now we're going to take a little intermission. Tony and Geezer are going to come back out again. Vinny's going to join them again. Here comes Tony Martin, The Shining, Devil and Daughter, When Death Calls, Anno Mundi, Jerusalem, and Eyewitness. Everybody's into it at the Garden. It's been a long show so far, but we're not done yet. That crew is going to stay on the stage. Ozzy comes back out. Jorn Landy comes back out. Glenn Hughes comes back out. Who am I missing here? Glenn Hughes.
Ian Gillan.
Gillan, sorry. Yeah, I'm trying to say Ian Anderson. Comes back out.
Bring him out too.
Yeah, exactly. Who cares, right?
Bring that fucking flute.
Extra drum kit, couple extra drum kits, right? So we got Bev, we got Vinny, we got Bill, we got all these guys out on stage. They're going to launch into Heaven and Hell, all right? Extended version. And Ozzy's going to join in on the vocal. Everybody's going to join in on the vocal.
Nice.
Then we're going to launch into War Pigs, okay? And of course, we're going to get Ozzy, Ian, Glenn. I'm trying to make sure I get everybody counted for here. Jorn and Tony are all going to do the whoa.
Okay,
right?
Nice.
Then we're going to
Ronnie part
all off because I don't need Paranoid on this evening. I know everybody's going to be like, you got to have Paranoid, not on my dream set list. They're going to finish it off with a crank-in version of Iron Man. Again, everybody's going to take turns doing a verse and what have you, joining on the chorus. That's the show. And this is the final. And I think in my dream set list, they're doing like maybe 5 different shows across the country. This is the final New York City performance of Black Sabbath ever. That's it.
Wow.
And this
That's
is that final show that I think we all wanted. I mean, the end tour was great, but
yeah.
for me, I would have liked a little bit of closure to close off all the eras of Sabbath. This, in my opinion, is the way to do it. So
That's awesome. I love it, Pete. I would go to that in a heartbeat. I'd start saving now.
because you get a little bit of everything, right?
For sure.
And again, I want, like, I don't know, I kind of want Tony especially to do one final thing that kind of ties all this together, right? Because we're not going to have Tony forever, and it's not, he hasn't done anything since the end tour, and I'm like, this I think would be pretty cool. I would love to see it, and I've seen. I have never seen. I know you and Rich Catino were talking about it earlier. I've never seen the Tony Martin version of the band.
Oh, no kidding.
No.
Wow.
No.
He was good. He was definitely good.
Yeah. So I've seen all the other eras. So although I saw the original foursome, but I didn't see them in the '70s, obviously. So I think this would be kind of fun.
Yeah, that sounds like a hell of a show.
First instinct, Chris, was to take that time machine back and do like 73, 74, 75, or something like that. But then I was like, you know what though? I would love to see one more time all these other guys come out. And I think I decided not to bring Ronnie back from the dead for this, or Cozy back from the dead from this. So I said, let's get 2 guys to fill in for them. And Jordan Landy, I always thought would be good. I would love to still have to see him do an album with Tony and Geezer. And, Bev Bevan, great drummer. I thought he was fine on that tour. I've always loved his stuff in ELO. So there you have it. That's
it is the perfect dream set list for encompassing the entire history of the band. Number one. And number 2, Jorn was the guy that was handpicked by Ronnie to fill in for him for Heaven and Hell, if they were going to go ahead and with that Heaven and Hell tour. And I think it was 2009.
Sick, right? Yeah.
But then Ronnie passed away, so that went out the window.
Yeah.
But that's great. I would buy that in a heartbeat.
Cool.
$2,000 ticket, no problem. Cash or charge.
Take my money, please.
That's it. Take my money. Especially it's only in the city. I don't have to take a train. Oh God, that's great.
It's close.
Yeah. For this next one, I'd have to travel, but I don't know how time travel. I guess if I'm using a time machine, it doesn't really.
No,
getting on a plane.
You just hop in it and turn that wheel, and
that's it.
You punch in the. That's how it works, right? You sit in the chair.
Yeah.
Maybe we have a side seat, right? Well, we have to have a side seat because we've done a lot of these co-traveling things. You have the chair, the side seat.
Right.
You got the little dial that you punch in the year and the date, and then you do the wheel down, and away you go.
That's it. We need a trunk though, because I'm going to buy a lot of Sabbath merchandise at this gig.
Oh yeah, you got to bring stuff back. Yeah.
So
we're bringing beer there. We're not bringing the beer back, so we got to be.
That's true.
Pack the beer and a couple pizzas, and then we go. But coming back, we got the tour programs and the T-shirts and
absolutely. So that
action figures and all that other nonsense.
Well, that's true. We'll have to pick up some toys and comic books. That's 1981, so that's totally true. But yeah, my number 1 time machine show ever. If I could only do one, I know I mentioned this on one of your other shows. I would go to the opening night of the Mob Rules tour, which was in Quebec City at the Quebec Coliseum, November 5th, 1981. In reality, this was the longest Sabbath set that they did on that tour. And in reality, I think it was the longest Sabbath set ever until the Heaven and Hell tour in 2007. Because that tour, I know that I went to on the Canadian tour, that tour was like 2 hours. And this show was like 110 minutes. But because it's a dream show, I'm taking the entire set that they did, which was the 15 songs, but then I'm jamming in 3 more because they are 2 of them probably should have been there, and one of them I just love this fucking song. So, and hey, it's my dream, so screw it. But I did rearrange the order. So in reality, they did open up with the tape from E5150. In reality, they played Neon Nights. But I'm going to have them open up with Turn Up the Night, which they did play that night, and it was the live debut of that song, but they did it later in the set. Then I'm going to have them do NIB because I love that song, and I love Ronnie's version of it. Then they're going to do Voodoo, which again, in reality, was the live debut of that song. Then Children of the Sea, Country Girl, which again was the live debut that night. War Pigs, you know, a couple songs in that way. We kind of, again, got to appease the old school fans. This one, they did not play. No version of Black Sabbath have ever played the song live, but it's my favorite song off of Heaven and Hell, Wishing Well. I just love that fucking song. They never played it live. So I guess technically it would be another live debut that night because it was never played. Up next was is Slipping Away, again off Mob Rules, which they did play that night, and it was the live debut. Then the song Black Sabbath. After that, Falling Off the Edge of the World, which again they played that night in reality, and then that was the live debut. Then Neon Nights, pick up the pace a little bit. Then bring it back down a little bit more with Iron Man, which again they did this they did these for real that night. Then I'm gonna do the live debut of the Mob Rules. Then they did Heaven and Hell that night, like they always did. Then the one track that they did not do, they did 6 debuts off of the Mob Rules album that night, which was the most tracks that they ever played off that album, but they did not do my favorite song off of that album, which is The Sign of the Southern Cross, for whatever reason. So I'm going to have them do Heaven and Hell, but then the whole thing of Sign of the Southern Cross. None of that partial thing like they did on Live Evil. Then have them go back into Heaven and Hell, then straight into Paranoid, and then we put that little sandwich piece on the end of again Heaven and Hell, just a little bit more. And then for the encores, they did not do Die Young at all on the Mob Rules tour, but screw it, it's my dream. I'm going to do it them. That's going to be the first encore and the second encore, which was the real encore in reality, Children of the Grave.
Well, I'm sure you omitted Tony's guitar solo and the drum solo.
I mean, if we had to, we could, I would leave them in there for just this band, but anybody else did have to be completely cut. But if we take them out, then we can squeeze in some more songs. So maybe we'll just do that.
There you go. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So that's a good 2-hour show right there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because it was in reality with the guitar solo and the drum solo, it was 110 minutes.
Yeah.
So if we take those out and jam in 3 more songs, yeah, so that's about 2 hours.
Cool. I go to that one too.
Yeah, that'd be a good one.
That sounds like my show at the Brendan Byrne Arena in East Rutherford, New Jersey, with a little something extra.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I mean that was the typical Sabbath set list for the Mob Rules tour, except they cut it down from 15 songs. They would normally do about 12, which they cut. Instead of doing 6 songs off of Mob Rules every night, they did 3.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Yeah, it'd be good stuff.
It's funny, doing something like this for this band, and you and I know exactly what this is all about, makes you kind of like hunger for seeing them again.
100%.
Doesn't it make you feel like,
I'm never gonna see any of these songs again?
Right. That's exactly where I was going. Yeah. And that's why I say it all the time. And I don't know if he's ever watching or not, but Tony, if you're watching, we miss you.
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt. Do something.
Don't just, slip into retirement and just not go out and play any music again. I would settle for just a Tony Iommi band.
For sure.
His thing and playing a couple Sabbath classics. I would be into that too. But
that was one of my almost plans. I mean, shit, I could have done this all night, Pete. I could have done 5 or 6 of them. But the one show, but then I actually did think, I go, all right, technically it's not Black Sabbath. So I dropped this idea, but there's a tour that we never got in I guess it would have been 2007. And when I interviewed Glenn Hughes and Tony Iommi, it was the whole thing. It was going to be like a Sabbath family tour. It was going to be the Geezer Butler Band was going to open. Then Iommi and Hughes was going to play next. Then the Dio Band was going to play next. And then Tony and Geezer were going to join Ronnie and do a Sabbath set. And I'm like, man, that would have been awesome. But the flip side is we did really get heaven and hell.
Hell yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I don't think I would change history, but I would still love to see that if it were at all possible.
Yeah, I totally would be into that. I think at this point in time, I mean, you have to think like the guys with Ozzy is pretty much done.
Yeah.
Like, maybe not, but you would think based on what's going on with Ozzy, I think that's kind of done. But I mean, how cool would it be for Tony Geezer and Glenn and Vinny to go and do something?
Totally.
Again, call it something else if
Yeah.
you want. Call it whatever you want. But I mean, that's got to happen at some point.
That would be great. I mean, it would be amazing.
Yeah. Because I mean, Glenn can still freaking sing.
Sure. 100%. And then, then I did start thinking, all right, well, if we get Glenn Hughes, do we bring in Ian Gillan? Because then, they could do those songs from the Who Cares record.
Yeah.
And then, Glenn can do all the solo stuff he did with Tony. Yeah. And then I'm like, okay, do we get crazy? Do we make Tony do Smoke on the Water? Do we really get crazy? We're going to make Tony Iommi play Burn?
He would do it. I bet you he would do it.
I mean, I don't know what the one time I interviewed Glenn Hughes, and I did bring that up, and he's like, "Oh no, I wouldn't have Tony. I wouldn't ask Tony to play any Blackmore stuff." I was like, "Oh, okay." He's like, "But I'll sing any." Glenn Hughes was like, "I'll sing anything. I'll sing all the Ozzy stuff." I'm like, "Yeah, like Symptom of the Universe." He's like, "Whatever." I was like, "That's awesome."
Yeah.
I agree. I think an Iommi solo tour. Solo gig even would be awesome because then he could play anything he wanted. And but fingers crossed. But listen, we're all getting older, so who knows?
I just again, Tony, if you're watching, do it before you just can't do it anymore.
Do it before you can't. Yeah.
Even if it's a short tour, please.
Right.
We'll all come out. Trust me, we will. So.
No doubt.
There you have it, everybody. A fun little Dream Setlist program here as we wind down the month of March for Black Sabbath. I want to thank Chris for putting some effort into this, and I think we both did, and I think we both came up with some really cool ideas here. So you never know. Never say never, right?
Absolutely.
Sometimes it'd be interesting if any of these Dream Setlists would ever come to fruition, but who knows? Who knows? So stay tuned. We've got a couple more coming up on the schedule. Hold on. I'll tell you exactly what's happening here. I believe tomorrow is Rick Labonte is joining me for a Dream Set List of Uriah Heep. That's tomorrow. Tuesday, my little brother's joining me for a Dream Set List of Dream Theater. And then Wednesday is the last day. That'll be me solo. I got a surprise. Sort of, I guess. Well, I don't know about a surprise, but I'll announce that one when it happens. So for the final day, and but stay tuned. Chris and I are coming right back because we are going to review these two reissues that just came out. So more Sabbath coming at you between Chris and myself. So stay tuned for that. For Chris Allo, I am Pete Pardo. Visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter. Of course, we're here on YouTube.
All the damn time.
All the damn time. That's right. So see you guys momentarily. Bye-bye.